Everclear was going to be my last band. If that didn't work, somewhere down the line, we were going to probably move to LA, and I was going to work for a record label and write songs for other people and, do that thing. But I wanted to do one more band. So Everclear was my last band.
I am here chatting with Mr. Art Alexakis from Everclear, the legendary Everclear. How are you today, sir?
Good, man. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you so much for taking time to chat today. I really appreciate it. We're here to chat about so many things, not the least of which is the 30th anniversary of Everclear's first album, World of Noise, which you have remastered and are reissuing. It comes out Friday, June 10th.
All right.
I'm super pumped. It's a fantastic album. Would love to learn a little bit more about, why 30th anniversary and not say 25th or any of those other ones. What was it about this time that felt like the right time to bring this back into the world?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, thanks for talking to me today and talking about this. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Well, so when we signed to Capitol before Sparkle and Fade, this album had come out on an indie label in Portland called TK Records in '93. And so we remastered it. Capitol remastered it without even bringing me in, actually. And didn't really love the sound of it. It's very high indie. And but they put it out in '94. They had it. I wouldn't give it to them. They wanted me just to give it to them. I'm like, no, I'll sell it to you. And they're like, oh, we'll buy it for $5,000. I'm like, nope. I'll license it to you for $5,000. How about that? And so I did. And it reverted back to me in like '99. But it's been out of print since then. But it never was released on digital platforms ever. And it was hard to find on vinyl and on CD and starting to get really expensive. So over the last few years, I wanted to put it out. So what 2022 is the 30th anniversary of Everclear. We started in April of 1992. And I recorded this record in the fall of 1992. So, and about 3 months ago, me and Freddie, my bass player, were going through the studio, through the storage and stuff, and I found the actual tapes, the actual mix tapes, and the actual multi-track tapes. Oh, wow. So I had to get them baked, right, because they're so old.
Yeah.
And I had those remastered, and that's what you're hearing. You're hearing remastered versions of the original tapes, which sound way better than I think the Capitol versions did, because I was there and they're beefier. I mean, it's still very, very, it's recorded to 1/4-inch 8-track, yeah. But I found much more faithful to the original recordings, much, much, much more faithful to it. And also we put some demos on there, some that have been released and some that haven't been released. So it's a special thing. And I don't know if you're a vinyl guy, but we're going to be putting out vinyl of this and a 7-inch later in the year. So we're doing the artwork. That's what we're doing now before we go on tour. And we'll talk about the tour, I'm sure. But I'm just rushing to get that done before we go getting the artwork done. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. No, very much. Yeah, you very much answered it, and I appreciate you providing all that sort of backstory. I think that's important for fans to know about. I'd love for you to take us back to that time period when you were recording World of Noise and kind of what was going on and like the scene and music and like kind of where was your head at when you were like, let's do this, let's put this out, let's track this right now.
I was really, really angry.
Okay.
I was 30 years old. I had moved to Portland. I had a band in San Francisco and a label in San Francisco, but I found out my girlfriend, who's from Portland, we found out she was pregnant. So we moved to Portland in late '91. and tried to do the long distance thing with my band, but just couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford it. We were on welfare. I mean, we were poor. I had no money. And so Everclear was going to be my last band. If that didn't work, somewhere down the line, we were going to probably move to LA, and I was going to work for a record label and write songs for other people and, do that thing. But I wanted to do one more band. So Everclear was my last band. And we played throughout the summer, and we had a hard time getting gigs in 92. My daughter was born in June. Later in the year, I met a guy who had a basement studio, and he would trade me for a couple of pieces of equipment. I had an old digital delay and an old reverb that was in a case, right? And he traded me $400 worth of recording time, which is 40 hours at $10 an hour. And I'm like, okay, we have 12 songs. I can do that. And really, I didn't tell the other guys in the band, but I wanted to see what we sounded like on tape, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep doing this band. I wasn't sure we had something special. I believed in my songs, but I didn't know if it was congealing. And we recorded it. As we were mixing it down, I'm like, yeah, there's something there. And I sent it to South by Southwest. I just made the deadline, like literally made the deadline. And since it was so late, they didn't even write me back. They called me at home and left a message and said, we want you guys to play in 4 weeks. And I'm like, okay. So I booked some gigs to get there. I borrowed some money, recorded a bunch of demo tapes of the demo, called it World of Noise, sent it out to clubs all over the Northwest and papers all over the Northwest. And on the way back from South by Southwest, my girlfriend at the time became my second wife, was like, man, you better get home. There's all these messages offering these shows with big bands, and people are writing about it. All the papers. There's, everybody's talking about Everclear, and I'm like, wow, okay. So there's something there. And but when I was recording it, man, I was just focused into getting it recorded and making it sound as good as I could for the money that we were spending, which was not a lot. And my amp needed new tubes. I had a Fender Twin, a Super Twin, and needed new tubes, but I couldn't afford to get that, right? So it kept overheating, and blue like lightning was shooting out out of the amp. It'd get all heated up. I have to turn it off and put a couple of towels and a bag of ice on top of the amp so it would cool it off, which is really a bad idea, really, if you think about it. But that was the sharpest tool in the drawer. Yep. But anyway, it worked, and then we cool off, and then we do another take, and I do a take, and then all of a sudden it starts, that feedback. Not the cool feedback, like, woo, but that stuff. So that, when it came time to name it, I'm like, World of Noise.
Love that.
A World of Noise. There was an old record store in San Francisco when I lived there called World of Sound, and it had a very cool 60s kind of look to it. And I was like, that's really cool, World of Sound. And I thought that would be a cool name for a record, right? But with the feedback and everything going on, how angry it was,
make more sense.
Vocally angry and lyrically angry, I'm just like, World of Noise.
Well, it is, man. I've gotten to listen to the album in its entirety, and it's just fantastic. Like it sounds so good. And I love the unreleased tracks. I love Drunk Again so much. That song is fantastic and like so heavy. What can you give us a little backstory kind of on that song?
Well, so when we recorded all those tracks, that was on the record. That was never on the record, but it was on the original demo tape that we sent out to people. And then about 3 months later, I'd written a song called Nervous and Weird. And I went and recorded it. And I thought it was a better song because I thought Drunk Again just sounded like kind of stereotypical grunge, just so I didn't like that song for years. But when I found these tapes, I listened to it again. I'm like, fuck, that's pretty cool. It's heavier as shit. And I love the lyrics. You can tell I've been sober and clean now almost 33 years in June. At the time, it was 92. So I was barely 3 years sober. I was pissed off. And you could tell what I'm writing about. I'm just creating stuff. I didn't know anyone named Kathy. I didn't have a baby named Hazel. But I was like, you're always songs about people. For one thing, you don't hear songs about people talking about being in recovery. But recovery was a big part of my life then and now. And especially then. So that song's intense, man. Talking about a guy telling his wife not to come over when the baby's still up because he doesn't want her to see her mom when she's high or drunk. And
heavy.
You're crossing the street crawling across the street. It's just hard to see, man.
Yeah.
It's a heavy fucking song, like you said. But it's never been released. I mean, hardcore people on the internet found it somewhere or another. I don't know, but never been released. So that's one of the unreleased tracks.
Well, it's definitely one that fans can look forward to hearing. Anybody who hasn't heard it yet, look forward to hearing. I had not heard it and was just like, wow, this sounds like a thrash song or something. Everclear meets Metallica.
I know it's totally. It's like
and in support of the anniversary of the band and the album and all that, you guys are going out on tour. 30th anniversary of Everclear tour, Fastball, the Nixons, big exciting tour. Are you going to be playing songs from World of Noise? Is that part of the plan?
I don't know if we'll play Drunk Again.
Fair enough.
We're definitely going to play Nervous and Weird. Cool. Now, also on the record, as you heard at the last song on of the bonus tracks, is a mix that I hadn't heard since we did it, and I didn't even remember it, but I found it on tape that we mixed in 2021, and I put extra guitars on it, and the vocals sound more tuned and just louder, and I just think, and it sounds a little speeded up, and it's got percussion on it, and it just sounds really cool. So we're going to put that out, and we got a video coming out of just like old performances of Nervous and Weird cut together and stuff like that. And that's going to come out, I think, on either the 1st or the 10th. But that song should be available before the rest of the record. That's the focus track. But so we'll play Nervous and Weird, probably Fire Maple Song, maybe your Genius Hands, Loser Makes Good, Yeah, so we'll do some songs. And I'd like to do Pacific Wonderland, which is the what do you call it? The instrumental in the bonus. And one of my favorite Everclear songs of all time is in the bonus tracks is called Blondes.
Yeah.
And I love that song.
Oh, cool.
And so maybe we'll play that. We'll see.
Is the set, can fans expect the set to be kind of more of like a retrospective of Everclear, like just, through the years and all that?
Yeah, it's going to have the hits. It's going to have all the fan favorites people are used to, but there's like 5 or 6 songs that I'll change every night, and go deeper with some stuff on that. So it'll be a good, I think it's an hour to 75-minute set. So yeah, there's going to be stuff that even hardcore Everclear fans haven't heard live either recently or ever.
Very cool. Very cool. And I guess in supplements that you guys are also going to be playing the Flannel Nation Festival. In August, is it?
I believe so.
August. That's very exciting. Let me ask you this, because it's Sugar Ray and it's Filter and Soul Asylum. There's so many great bands that came up in that same era. Do festivals like that ever feel just like a family reunion for you? Like, do you feel like you're just getting back together with?
Absolutely, in more ways than one. I think all those bands that are playing that festival, and there's a few of them, all but maybe one or two of them have played my Summerland Festival that we do every year. And Sugar Ray's done it twice. Lit's done it twice. Soul Asylum's done it. So talk about family reunions, definitely. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for the show.
That's going to be really fun.
Are you in Los Angeles?
I'm not. No, you know what? I actually live in Oregon.
Where? Portland?
I live in Eugene, actually.
Oh, you're in Eugene. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a couple hours south of Portland.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're setting up a West Coast tour. We'll play Portland in October.
Oh, right on. That's very exciting. I will be there. I will make that drive. Art, I really appreciate you taking time to chat today. I'm grateful to you for it. It's been awesome. World of Noise is coming out on June 10th, and the tour kicks off around the same time, and then Flannel Nation in August. You got so much going on. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.